They say ignorance is bliss. I never really understood what that meant until last Tuesday. Now, I would give anything, absolutely anything, to go back to being ignorant. To go back to being the guy who didn't know the truth. My name is Mark. I'm 26 years old. If you asked me a month ago to describe my life, I would have told you it was pretty average, maybe even lucky. My parents, Thomas and Sarah, have been married for 32 years. In our town, they were the golden couple. You know the type. They still held hands when we went grocery shopping. My dad, Thomas, was my absolute hero growing up. He worked double shifts at the plant just to put me through college debt-free. He taught me how to shave, how to drive, how to be a man. We have the same sense of humor, the same laugh. Or at least I thought we did. It all started as a stupid joke. A few guys at work were talking about those heritage DNA kits. Everyone was comparing their percentages. Oh, I'm 10% Viking, or I'm part Native American. I felt left out of the conversation, so I bought one on impulse. It was on sale for $99. I didn't even really care about the ancestry part. I just wanted to see the breakdown, so I could screenshot it and roast my dad about his supposed Italian roots that he was always bragging about. He always claimed his olive skin and thick hair came from a grandfather in Sicily. I thought it would be a funny birthday gift for him. Frame the results and say, "See, Dad, you're just 100% English boring stock like the rest of us." I spit in the tube, mailed it off, and honestly, I forgot about it. Life went on. I was busy with a project at work, dating a new girl, just living my life. Then, the email came. I remember exactly where I was. I was sitting in my car in the parking lot of a fast food place, eating a burger on my lunch break. The subject line read, "Your DNA results are ready." I opened it, expecting a laugh. The first thing I saw was the ethnicity estimate. I scrolled down. No Italian, not a single drop. It was mostly British Isles, some French, and a random chunk of Scandinavian. I chuckled to myself. I knew it. Dad's family legends were total nonsense. I was already drafting the text to him in my head. "Hey Dad, looks like Sicily is actually Sweden." But then my thumb hovered over the tab that said DNA matches. This is the part of the site where they connect you with other people in their database who share your blood. I clicked it, expecting to see maybe a third cousin or some distant relative I'd never heard of. The page loaded, and my heart literally stopped beating for a second. At the very top of the list, there was a match labeled Parent-Child. The match strength was 49.9%. But the name next to the photo wasn't Thomas. The name was Benjamin Miller. I stared at the screen. The burger wrapper crinkled in my hand because I was squeezing it so hard. I felt a cold sweat break out on the back of my neck. I know a Benjamin Miller. Everyone in my life knows Benjamin Miller. We call him Uncle Ben. He isn't my real uncle. He is my dad's best friend since high school. He was the best man at their wedding. He was at every Thanksgiving dinner. He bought me my first baseball mitt. He was the funny, cool bachelor uncle who always slipped me $20 when my parents weren't looking. I sat in that car for an hour. I tried to rationalize it. I Googled DNA test errors 100 times. I read forums about mix-ups. But the more I read, the sicker I felt. A 50% match is undeniable. It means parent, child, or full sibling. Since I don't have a brother, there was only one option. Uncle Ben is my biological father. My brain started replaying my entire childhood like a movie. But now the genre had changed from a family comedy to a psychological thriller. I remember the way Ben used to look at my mother when he thought no one was watching. I remember how he always made sure to come to my soccer games even when my dad had to work. I remember jokes people made about how I was taller than my dad, just like Ben. I always laughed it off. Now those memories felt like a knife twisting in my stomach. I couldn't go back to work. I drove straight to my parents' house. I needed to look my mother in the eye. I needed her to tell me the app was glitching. When I got there, Dad wasn't home yet. It was just Mom, sitting in the living room reading a book. She looked up and smiled, that warm, comforting smile that has made me feel safe for 26 years. "Mark, what a surprise! Are you staying for dinner?" I didn't say hello. I walked over to her, my hands shaking so badly I almost dropped my phone. I unlocked the screen, pulled up the profile of Benjamin Miller with the label Father, and shoved it in her face. "Mom," I said, my voice sounding like it belonged to a stranger, "why does this website say Uncle Ben is my dad?" I watched her face. I watched the exact moment her soul left her body. She didn't look confused. She didn't ask what app it was. She just went pale, ghostly pale. Her book slid off her lap onto the floor with a loud thud. She opened her mouth to speak, but nothing came out. She started trembling. "Tell me it's a mistake," I begged her. "Please, Mom, just tell me it's wrong." She looked down at her hands. Tears started dripping onto her lap. "It was a long time ago, Mark. My dad and I were going through a really rough patch. He was working all the time. We were disconnected. Ben was there. He was just there." "Just there?" I screamed. "He's been there my whole life. You let Dad raise another man's son. You let Dad invite his best friend over for Christmas dinner every single year knowing this?" "We didn't know for sure," she cried out, grabbing my arm. I pulled away. "We stopped it immediately. We agreed to bury it. I thought you were Thomas's. I prayed you were Thomas's. Mark, please, he loves you more than anything. Blood doesn't matter." "It matters to me," I yelled. "My whole life is a lie." And then we heard the garage door open. The sound was like a gunshot in the quiet house. My dad, Thomas, was home. He walked in through the kitchen door, humming a tune, carrying his work bag. He looked tired, but happy. He saw us in the living room. He saw the tears on Mom's face. He saw the rage on mine. "What's going on?" he asked, dropping his bag. "Is everything okay? Is it your health?" The silence that followed was the loudest thing I have ever heard. Mom couldn't speak. She was sobbing into her hands. I looked at this man who taught me how to tie a tie, who sat up with me when I was sick, who paid for my college. I loved him so much in that moment that it physically hurt. I didn't want to break his heart. But he's not stupid. He looked at Mom, then at me. He looked at the phone still glowing in my hand. "Sarah?" he asked, his voice trembling slightly. Mom looked up at him, her eyes red. "The DNA test," she choked out. I watched my dad's face change. He didn't get angry. He didn't yell. He just aged 10 years in 10 seconds. He looked at me, searching for himself in my face, and finally seeing the truth he probably ignored for decades. He saw Ben in me. He walked over to the recliner, his favorite chair, and sat down heavily. He put his head in his hands. "It's Ben, isn't it?" he asked quietly. Mom nodded. Dad didn't say another word. He stood up, took his car keys off the counter, and walked out the front door. He didn't pack a bag. He didn't say goodbye. He just left.